Hello to everyone watching the replay of this. I'm just waiting for some people to jump on live, but this is episode 6, and we're going to be covering all kinds of Q&A questions about Divine Feminine. Hello Bonbon8479, thank you for joining. Hi Nuts of Nancy, hi Sanda Weber. Thanks for joining. How is everyone today? Pop in the comments how you're doing. Hello. So good to see you all. Is everybody having a good day? I have so many awesome questions. Hi Jerry, thank you so much for joining. How are you today? Yes, it looks beautiful outside. It's definitely sunny here, but I haven't actually made it outside yet today. But working on it. Hi, Jerry. So please feel free to pop any questions that you have in the question box. Hi, Ega Sun Moon. Hello, Omar Keita 96. Thank you all for joining. So hi, Vanessa. Hello, thank you all for joining. So today the questions are varied. So there's a lot of different topics that we're going to cover. One of the really interesting ones was about divine feminine energy versus divine masculine energy and kind of like how they work together. And I've also got questions here about our star family and questions about manifestation and destiny. So if you have any questions that you want me to add in for today's video, just pop them in here into the chat. Hello, the Mystic Rose Reflection. Thank you for joining. So anyway, how's everybody doing? And where are you from? I'm in Ontario, Canada right now. It's very sunny, a little chilly still, but starting to feel like spring. Hi, Sam and Joe. How are you? And I've had a pretty relaxed, chill day. I just did a meditation, which was like super emotional, but it was good. Hi, Soul with Sarah. So in Toronto, very cool. So you'll probably have the exact same weather I have. It's fairly sunny here, really nice actually, clear day, but just a little bit chilly. So did anybody see, the first thing I wanted to talk about was Ascension Symptoms, because I really like starting these talks with what we're all experiencing, because we're experiencing a lot right now. Like if you saw the video about April energies, the April energies are so powerful. Like you thought March was intense, but then April kind of just came in with like this wildfire energy. Hi, Devoted Warrior of Light. Thanks for joining. And the main ascension symptom that I am seeing, and when I mean I'm seeing, it's like I'm experiencing it, plus I'm seeing it in all of your readings because I'm always busy doing all these readings, which is so incredible. Thank you all so much for your support with that. And in your readings, this is exactly what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the ascension symptom that I posted about today, which is called soul nudges. So a soul nudge is like when you know, and you have known for a while, that there's something in your life that's just not quite right anymore. And maybe it was at one point. Maybe it really was helping you and like serving you. But suddenly you can't ignore it anymore. Like you can't deny that it's either a relationship or a situation, and it's, instead of lifting you up, it's now kind of like pulling you down. Hi Steph1 Dennis, thanks for joining. Hi Gavin Ashley, thank you for joining. So this is a really potent ascension symptom happening right now in April, and I like to call it a soul nudge. So a soul nudge is when you get like nudged hard back onto your highest timeline, your aligned circumstances and experiences. And the thing is that we've known this whole time, like in the back of your mind, it's a lingering thought and feeling, and you know what I mean? Like, and if that's like, I'm seeing it a lot in relationships, but I don't want to just say that's all it is, because it could be a job, it could be a friendship, it could be a toxic family member, it could be a toxic habit. Like you've seen yourself kind of, you've been accepting it all this time, but then suddenly one day it just becomes too much and you're like, well, I need to make some changes. However, I will say that a lot of it is coming up in romantic relationships, but like that's not the only way it's coming up. But yeah, like it's getting really loud. Like you've always had that knowingness, that soul nudge, and it's been getting louder and louder and louder. And all of a sudden in April, it's like so loud. And to the point now where we can't ignore it anymore. And changes then have to actually be made. And that's so scary, right? It is. It's really scary because nobody wants to step outside their comfort zone. Nobody wants to completely overhaul their life. Like, who wants to do that? Oh my God, it's so stressful and so much work. But you're not alone. Like, I am definitely like right there with you on this. Hi, Brian. And that's why I wanted to like post about it today. So if you haven't read it yet, then after this video, hop onto my page and read about soul nudges. But I also wanted to let you know that I actually filmed a whole video on it because it's coming up so powerfully this month. Like it's so huge. And like I said, it's in all the readings. And it's like something that is really delicate too, right? So I'm not like coming after people hard with you need to make these changes. But like your spirit team, like your guides are coming through with the messages for you. Like literally the last 5 readings I've had, it's been that way. And it's like your spirit guides are giving you, and if any of, if I've done a reading for you and you're watching this, I'm not calling you out or anything like that. You're not alone. Like I am 100% right there with you. But we're getting these very powerful messages like, and even the guides are even saying, you've known this, like, that this is what you need to change or do in your life to be lighter, more aligned, all of those things. So it's like, it takes like a lot of courage and a lot of bravery. So that would be the ascension symptom that I would just say is happening right now for April. And I don't know if you noticed, but I haven't actually been doing like, I usually do the full moon reading, the new moon reading, when I'm tuning in to like all the, because you guys love those videos. I know you do. The new moons and the full moons. I know that. But when I'm tuning in this month, it's all the same as the April energy. And I already did an April energy report. So, I don't want to repeat myself. And like, if it's not new information, there's not too much of a point. So if you're interested in all of this and you're feeling connected to it, check out the April energy report on YouTube or the Soul Nudge post on Instagram. And like I said, there'll also be a video on soul nudges coming out. Hi, Morgan. Thanks for joining. So anyway, so feel free to drop any questions that you have in the comment section. I have a bunch of questions here that I'm going to go through, but I just wanted to quickly touch on the ascension symptoms. Now, is anyone else with me on that ascension symptom? If you could, I'm just going to scroll back through the comments because I feel like a bunch of you said that you were, and I don't want to ignore your comments. And like, please drop in the comments if you're feeling a soul nudge. What is it? Like, what is your soul nudge? Because everyone is so different if you're comfortable. So Soulless Sarah said, oh my God, I had this exact epiphany this morning. So yeah, and like terrified, screaming face. Yep, it's terrifying, but it's so important. And Knots of Nancy said, oh yes, I know. Okay, so you're feeling it too. So it's not just me or all of the people I'm doing readings for. We're all feeling it, right? And it's so interesting how like ascension symptoms are so different every month. Like they were so physical in March, like really physical, a lot of headaches, February too, but a lot of like eye problems, like eye pain, headaches, all of this like physical chakra upgrade kind of energy. And now it's like, it's going even deeper. It's like, now it's life shit. Now it's like, you gotta change your life. Devoted Warrior of Light says 100%, it definitely feels like light is being shown to a lot of things, family, work, and lifestyle. Ugh, like 100% agree with you. It's nuts. Hi, Dreamwalker. Thanks for joining. Major life lesson. Yep, absolutely. Well, it's nice to know I'm not alone on that, and that everyone is kind of feeling that energy. So anyway, I've got some really good questions here. The first one that I wanted to talk about was from Practical Mystic 8. And they asked, how can we recognize when our star family is near or trying to give us messages? And so there's quite a few ways that you can tell. So your star family is probably going to be like members of your team, guides on your team. And so the way that you're going to feel if they're near, first we'll talk about, because this is kind of like two questions. How do you know when they're near, and how do you know when they're trying to give you messages? So first I want to talk about how you know when they're near. And one sec, I want to read some more about soul nudges here. Brian says, big time, my whole life has to change. Yep, I'm with you. And Knots of Nancy says, my soul nudge was this feeling in the background that my boyfriend was not the one. And then I finally got nudged real hard. By the way, it's not so fancy, Nancy. Oh, was I calling you fancy, Nancy? Sorry. So not so fancy. So down to earth, Nancy is gonna probably kind of have to end that relationship. And that's so hard, right? And like I said in the post, I think the hardest part is that we don't like to hurt other people. Like a lot of us are empaths. Almost all starseeds are empaths. And so like to cause someone else pain is the worst, literally the worst. I would rather tear my own heart out than hurt someone else. But staying in a relationship that's not right for you is essentially doing exactly that. And you know what? If you're not 100% happy, then I can almost guarantee you that your partner isn't either, because how could they be? Like, everyone deserves like real love. So we kind of need to set people free too. And Vanessa says, yes, I felt a nudge to be more active, and you started yesterday. So you listened to your nudge. So that's incredible. So like picking up a healthy routine is a really great soul nudge. Some people are getting nudged right now about their diet to get into like a healthier, like more fruits and vegetables kind of diet. And that really aligns with the spring energy. And Not So Fancy Nancy says, I did end it and I feel amazing now. Yes, I'm an empath and was codependent. Yeah, that's so hard. Hi, Commando. Thanks for joining. Well, I really commend you, Nancy, because that's like, it's one of the hardest things. Leaving a job is really hard, but leaving a relationship is like your whole life. Like, that's so hard. Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining. Devoted Warrior of Light says, it definitely resonated with the family part of the reading you sent me last week. I believe it hugely gave me a nudge to move separate from certain family. Yeah, that came up in your reading a lot. And I totally feel you on that, because I know I've talked about this before, but I have like toxic family members for sure, and it's not worth it. Like you can send them so much love and compassion and forgiveness, healing from a safe distance, but to connect yourself or to remain in like, to have them remaining in your life, it's disrespecting you, it's dangerous, it's draining, all of those things. And anything at this point that is no longer lifting you up into your highest timeline has to go. Like, this is the work that we came here to do. This is what we trained for. And it's not all about others. It's not all about teaching others and being there for others. A lot of it is our own transformation and evolution, because that's how we bring those energies to earth and ground them. So if we're living in an inauthentic way in any part of our life, then that is the energy that we're bringing here to earth. And that's not what I came here to do. I came here to be like very inconveniently authentic, truthful, like not fit into the mold, change things as often as they need to be changed. And that can be multiple times. And you can like, it's like, you know how like Madonna just reinvents herself every 10 years. Like, we're just reinventing ourselves over and over and over again. Hi, Divine Triad. Thanks for joining. Okay, so back to the question. So how can we recognize when our star family is near? And again, this was from practical_mystic8. So what I would say is it's the same way that you know when any guide is near. So the first thing is that you're going to feel a sense of presence. And that might feel different for you. For me, a presence of a higher vibrational being, I get like the physical sensations is in my ears. I get like popping in my ears because there's like a pressure change when they enter into my space. But generally speaking, I would say that you would actually feel their presence as warmth and awareness. So you will actually feel their consciousness. You will be aware of their awareness, if that makes sense, because they're in your space suddenly if they're joining in. and they're aware of you. And so you can feel that as a feeling of someone entering the room, their awareness, maybe somebody watching you, all of those things. And that goes for like low vibrational beings as well. You can tell when they're in your space, like they can't hide it. You're so sensitive. I know you feel their energy. And a lot of people tell me that they have like a feeling of being watched all the time, and it's not pleasant. It's not warm and loving. It's like either neutral or like aggressive, like an aggressive stare. And that would be like you needing to clear your space. And if anybody wants to know more about how to do that, then pop that in the comments. Hi, Third Eye Gemini. Hi, Elle McBride. Thanks for joining. But if it's a good thing, like if it's a star family and it's your guide, then it feels warm and it feels beautiful. And you feel their presence and their awareness, like their consciousness has now entered the building kind of feeling. So their warmth, their awareness, their presence, and what you can do to increase your sensitivity to picking up on those kinds of things is to meditate. Like honestly, when was the last time that you meditated? Like be honest, right? Was it in the last week? And if not, why? Because it's so important for you to prioritize your life in this way. And your meditations do not have to be this long, dragged out experience. It doesn't have to be like a ritual. It doesn't have to be like stuffy. It's literally just taking 15 minutes to sit in silence and connect. And the more often that you create that connection to source and to your team, then you'll recognize it when it arrives. So if I'm meditating fairly regularly and connecting with my team, and you just ask, that's all you have to do is just ask, like sit down to meditate and literally just ask, like, are you there? Let me know. Let me feel your presence. And the more you do that, the more sensitive you are to what that feels like. And then you'll notice it, right? Because like looking back, there were so many times before I was like really spiritual where I definitely realize now looking back that somebody was trying to get my attention, but I wasn't seeing it because I wasn't sensitive to it. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't seeing the signs, right? So definitely, practice on your sensitivity for recognizing those kinds of connections in your life. And then the second part of this question was not only how will you feel when your star family is near, but how do you know when they're trying to give you a message? So the truth of that is that they are always trying to give you a message. There's always a message waiting. You never don't have a message or a download waiting for you. It's just how often do you tap in to receive it? Because your team has like a lineup of messages, downloads, upgrades, all of those things. And every time you connect, there's something there for you. So however often you choose to connect is how much you're receiving. So if you're feeling stagnant or stuck in any way, then you need to make that time and that effort, and you will receive your next like download or vision or energetic upgrade, because that's happening too during your meditation. So, and if you don't like a sit down meditation, then go for a walk. That is one of the most powerful ways to receive your messages, because you're in movement, so you're getting energy moving. You're breathing deeply, and oxygen carries information. It carries information, and you're breathing in that deep, fresh air. You're gonna really be successful at receiving these downloads. And then if you have a hard time, like some people just can't sit still and meditate like that, then walk. Go for a walk. Go outside, get some fresh air with no distractions, like no headphones, no cell phone. Just walk and be with yourself. And after the first 5 or 10 minutes, you'd be really surprised at what comes through. It's a really powerful way to even connect with your higher self and get those messages. So hi Apricot, Zephyr Mystic, thanks for joining. So the answer to that is that there's always a message. You never have a spot in time where there's not one for you. There is so much that your team wants to share with you, but they can only give it to you one piece at a time, or it would be too much energetically and like emotionally and all of that. Hi Nakuni. Hi Mary Langell, thanks for joining. So the last part is, well, what if the message is urgent that your team is trying to get to you? So if it's urgent, then you will feel a sense of urgency. You will suddenly be having like dreams about people trying to have conversations with you or talk to you. You might even feel a little bit of like anxiety in your chest, like a little bit of like heart palpitations, racing heart, just like in the heart chakra area, tension or anxiety, or like an expectation feeling, an urgency feeling. And if you're getting that and you're feeling unsettled, or if you're really claircognizant and you just know things, then you will just know that there's a download waiting for you. So if you're an empath, you'll feel it. If you're a claircognizant, like person who gets a lot of downloads, then you'll just know. Hi, the Cruz, thanks for joining. So basically this is all about like how often you're checking your voicemail, right? Your spirit voicemail. How often are you checking if there's a message for you? How often are you downloading those messages and integrating them? Integrating them by like sharing with people what happened in your meditation. Just sharing that with someone can really help you to integrate that. Journaling about it, posting about it. I mean, just communicate about what you're receiving to integrate it. Even talking with yourself is really potent. If you go on walks and you're just like having a conversation with yourself, you can figure so much shit out that way. Hi, Mystic Mama Bear Killer. Hi, Kav Ganes. Thanks for joining. So I think that pretty much answers that question fully. So the next thing that I wanted to answer was from Devoted Warrior of Light, who's on this call. Thank you so much for your question. So it was basically about how can the divine masculine understand and appreciate the divine feminine? So that is such a beautiful question. Thank you so much. And for it to come from divine masculine means even more, because this is the year, and this ascension process is really about divine feminine energies. And the reason for that is because we need balance. Just like we talk about needing balance with light and dark in the world, we also need balance with masculine and feminine in order to be whole and healed society. And so at this point, the darkness is overarching the light. So we have to bring the light up and create balance. And at this point, divine masculine patriarch is overarching the feminine. And so we need to bring the feminine up for equality. So feminism or like divine feminine, it's not about the divine feminine being better than the divine masculine. It's about them being imbalanced. And that is why so much focus is being placed on the light and divine feminine, because darkness and divine masculine has kind of overshadowed those other aspects. So please know it's not about one being like better than the other. It's about equality and trying to bring up what is imbalanced, lifting it up to the same level. Hi, Secret Healing by Shannon. So how can you understand and appreciate the divine feminine if you're a divine masculine? So like number one thing is that we need to be seen, like really seen, not just for our avatar, like our physical character, but for our hearts, for our intelligence, for our souls, for what we're bringing to the table and what we have to offer in this very important evolution of consciousness. Divine feminine energy is it's the blood of this ascension right now. It's like it's what's feeding it. And that is because we are masters of like invisible worlds. So for you to just see us, for us to feel seen and be seen by you is so important. We've been invisible for so long. We've been powerless for so long. And we've been under someone's thumb for so long. So if you could see us, and then once you do, consider what you're seeing. So if divine feminine energy is talking about oneness, consider that. Why is that important? Do I carry that aspect within myself? How can I bring more of this into my life? Consider what we have for teachings and what we're offering. If we're talking about healing and how important like going deeply within and healing is, just consider that that might be something that's really important. Maybe you don't understand it on the level of what we're bringing to the table, but you can try. You can try to consider things. You can try to ruminate on things. And then you can make an attempt, right? Like in your own day and in your own life and in your own meditation practice, just try. Just trust us that we have something here, that we're onto something, and that we've known for a long time what this world needs, and just give it a shot before you turn away from it and say, nope, that's not for me, that's not what I need. Just try before you put something down, right? Just one shot, and you'd be amazed at what you uncover within yourself, because you too are suffering in a world that's overshadowed by one aspect. Then you're suffering too. It's not just the divine feminine suffering, it is also the divine masculine. You need both to be happy, just as we need both to be happy. So the divine feminine are leaders of emotional growth, whereas the divine masculine are leaders of the physical growth. So they're all about infrastructure and building worlds. And that's beautiful. They build homes, they, keep their families, protected and safe, and all of these amazing things. In business, they're building all of this infrastructure and ideas in business. And the whole world is very focused on what they have to offer. And so what divine feminine has to offer is leaders of emotional growth, not physical growth, which is so important to be happy. No one has been super happy in the way that the world is now. So we need this emotional growth. And then we're also leaders of the invisible world versus the physical world. So if you're the leader of building a physical world, we are the leaders of building up invisible worlds. They are just as real. They absolutely exist. And they are just as important in society. And so that's all about seeing between the cracks in the worlds, communicating with higher beings, and bringing down and grounding into the earth unconditional love, unconditional compassion, kindness, understanding, that soft, nurturing, maternal energy that the world needs so much right now. That is what we want to bring. We want to bring healing, forgiveness, equality, togetherness. It would change the world. It is changing the world. But the more that you embrace us and that unique light that we have, that sunlight, that love, then the more that you strengthen us in our own missions, which is so important. So the ways that you can lift us up are with gentleness. See us, help us to be seen, consider what we have to offer, lift us up with gentleness, right? So you can do that in your family, with your friends. If you see a beautiful divine feminine leader in the spiritual community, you can lift them up. You can message them and tell them how much you appreciate what they're doing. That goes a long way. You can share their stuff, you can comment. If you've had if you know of a beautiful healer, you can support them in their work. I mean, there's so many ways. And then in your relationships, then you can lift up your partner with tenderness and sweetness. Because when women feel safe, when the divine feminine feels safe, that is when they come into their full power. But until we feel safe, we're always going to be holding back a little bit. When a woman feels safe, she will change your whole world, because she's in her full power of love. And that is the most transformative fire that you will ever experience. And if we can fill the world up with those flames, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. Sorry, I'm not trying to ignore your comments here. So Sacred Healing by Shannon says, showing our souls and true authenticity. Love this. Absolutely. And being seen. We've been centuries of being silenced. We need to be heard. We need to be seen. And I don't think that's asking too much. Thank you for joining, Steve Korb. And Devoted Warrior of Light says, it definitely feels like that. I've noticed how divine masculine sometimes overruns some things which divine feminine have to offer. Yeah, they try to take over a lot, don't they? And it's not, I don't think a lot of it is out of intentional trying to hurt. It's just that's the way it's always been, and they feel like that's their role. Whereas we need you to almost take a step back and allow us to step forward, stand beside you at that podium, and also speak. Like, we also have voices, right? Prajesh, thank you for joining. Nainth the Ninth, thank you for joining. Mind by Rena Coaching, thank you so much. And Not So Fancy Nancy says, so true. Okay, so what else did I want to say on Divine Feminine? Oh, the last thing is just, you know what? Just accept that we are a mystery. You may never figure it out. We may never even figure ourselves out. I think you just need to accept that, because we can be like a million different energies at once, and each day is different. And it's like, I mean, embrace it. That is spirit. That is mysticism. Women are mystics. We are cyclical beings. We literally cycle with the moon. It is so powerful. And that powerful, like, moon time for us is like full of divine premonition and very powerful spiritual energies, like ascension, evolution. Like, we are just such powerful creatures, and we are true mystics. We are true healers. So just accept the fact that we are mysterious, and just love the mystery. Just be okay with it, because I mean, it's not going to change. We're not going to just be, decide to be this and then be that forever. It's always in flux, and we are always changing, and it's beautiful. And that's that whole like flexibility, like divine feminine energy. It flows like water. It moves around rocks. It finds a way. It'll find a way in. So that's all I had for divine feminine. Unless anybody else has further, I'll move on in a sec to the next question. But does anyone else have a question about divine feminine or divine masculine? You guys are always so curious about what's in my cup, which is so funny. I don't know why so many people ask me that, but today it's decaf espresso. Yes, there is such a thing. I'm a coffee lover, but I'm off of caffeine. So I found espresso that was actually decaf. So it's like got such a nice flavor. Okay, so I guess that's it for divine feminine. We'll leave it at that. So the next question is from It's Aaron Clark. So thank you, Aaron, for this question. And he asked, this was actually really interesting. Is purposefully... Wait, before I move on, good timing, Jackie. Okay, one more question about divine feminine. I have a question about surrendering, how to flow and not need to be in control. Oh my God, thank you so much for asking that. That is so aligned to divine feminine. So here's for all of my sisters for divine feminine energy. When you feel unsafe, you will automatically switch back into divine masculine energy. And you will know, because you will hear yourself saying things like, I don't need him, or I don't need anyone. I don't need it. I don't need anything. All I need is myself. All I can rely on is me. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll do it myself. Done. That's divine masculine, right? Because divine feminine is about coming together, working together. Like, that's the natural state of divine feminine energy. It's about community and like supporting others, but also leaning on others. And because we've been living in this very masculine world, a lot of us don't even know what divine feminine truly is anymore, and have like a really hard time stepping into that and letting go. So for me, it's been a real struggle, because growing up, I had to take care of myself. And then that's the attitude that I developed. And so I never let people get close, because that's dangerous and I don't need it. That whole vibe, like, I don't need it. Like, I'm good. I got me. I'm good. Like, the whole attitude, all of it. And it's like, okay, but that's not happiness. And like, the divine masculine and divine feminine together are what create that beautiful love and romance and like the ideal partnership. And that doesn't mean it has to be one man and one woman. It just means that one partner will always be more divine masculine and one will always be divine feminine, because we are attracted to that polarization. So in order to step out of divine masculine and needing to like be in control of everything, like micromanaging your life, everyone else's life, because you want to help others and because it makes you feel safe to take care of people, you need to like, how do you let go? How do you even describe letting go? It's like, take a deep breath and Look for in life what's making you feel resistance and anxious and tension, and then let it go. And that might mean that you have to go for more walks for a little while, because that's surrender. Meditation is surrender. Allowing your emotions to come out is surrender. Like, feel your feelings. Like, I went for so many years where I would only cry in private because I was told that tears are weakness. And it's so the opposite. Like, being vulnerable is so brave and so strong. And like, to be able to like actually cry in front of someone that you trust is the most connective thing. So if you want to get into flow and into surrender, then you never bite back your tears, ever. You allow things to flow, no matter how inconvenient or embarrassing, it doesn't matter. You honor yourself and you honor your heart, and you start sharing your fears. You just need to get really vulnerable to surrender. You stop shutting down and you start sharing, and that opens up your heart chakra to like flow again. That's flow. An open heart with flowing emotions where you own it, accept it, and surrender to it. And I'm just going to catch up on a bunch of stuff that's come through here for comments. Thank you so much, Jackie. That was a beautiful question. And us women really need to start thinking about how we can embrace our divine femininity. Devoted Warrior of Light. Thank you, Jenny. Amazing answer and explanation. Thank you for the question. Not So Fancy loves her cappuccinos. No, you mix it with regular decaf. Yep. I got off of caffeine because of that resistance feeling, that anxious feeling. So you have to be really sensitive and see where it's coming up in your life. And like, it took me, because of COVID, being sent to work at home for a while from my job. And here I am like at home trying to drink the same amount of coffee that I would drink at work. And it was like, all of a sudden I realized like, what the hell am I doing to myself? I'm so anxious all the time. And then I cut back, and eventually I got off of it completely. And now if I accidentally get given, like at a restaurant, like a caffeine instead of a decaf, I can't sleep that whole night. It's amazing what it does to you. It's not healthy at all. So Not So Fancy Nancy says, oh my God, haha, that's what my mind was saying, carrying up huge Costco bags to my 4th floor apartment with no elevators. Yep, I can do it by myself. I don't need anyone. I'm not even gonna ask for help. Like, that's what we do. It's so funny, but that's not softness, and that's not truth either. That's not being vulnerable. Devoted Warrior of Light says, could it be divine masculine may need lessons in terms of divine feminine aspects? I think we all do, not just you. We need lessons in our divine feminine as well. As growing up, it was as if feminine energy was only shown to masculine in limited perspectives. Absolutely. And that's like, I don't know, my mind went to the porn industry there, so sorry, but that's where my mind went. And it's like, it's all femininity has been like stripped away from where it belongs by the porn industry. Like, there's no femininity in that at all. The women are so aggressive and masculine, and like, I don't know, it's just, it's very one-sided. It's all very geared to that unhealthy amount of like divine masculine. I don't even know if I would call it divine, just masculine energy. And it's like all about control. And when there is surrender, it's not gentle, soft surrender. It's like submission. It's like, I don't like it at all. I just think it's toxic. Aga Sun Moon Stars says, in meditation, you can say, I choose to let go. Absolutely. Such a good point. We can ask for so many things. It just takes asking for it. You can ask for downloads. You can ask for upgrades. You can ask for anything. And when you are in a meditative space and connected, you will receive it. And then you have to trust that you are receiving it and don't push it away. Hi, Peg Tucker. Thanks for joining. Nancy says, yeah, I've been at home because of COVID also. I did cut caffeine for a month, but then went back to blend the two together. That's still cutting back if you're blending though. And like, good for you for noticing, because it takes a level of sensitivity to be self-aware and notice those things. But I absolutely agree. Like, caffeine is, it's almost masculine energy. It's like all about action, go, go, go. It's like, wow, you also need to breathe and take breaks to actually be more aligned and successful and productive. It's that flow. It's the balance of the two once again. Hi, Black Angel, Smiley, Starseed. That is a very cool handle. I love it. Thank you for joining. Okay, so that's all so amazing. I'm so glad we talked about Divine Feminine. I'm actually teaching a lecture. I'm kind of nervous because I've never done anything like it before on Divine Feminine for someone's mastermind class, and that's coming up in April. So I've really been like diving deep into Divine Feminine and like trying to get all kinds of like understanding of it for this lecture. Nancy says she meditates every day. Well, that's why you have such a strong understanding of being able to ask for things and understanding things, and you're very sensitive energy for sure. I feel empath. Hi, Maddo Klein, thanks for joining. Hi, J Dub Kick Flip, thanks for joining. Okay, so anything else, just if you have anything else on Divine Feminine or even Divine Masculine, if you want to know anything about that, pop them in the comments. I'll move on for now and then I'll check back. So the next question was from It's Aaron Clark, and this is about manifestation kind of. So it says, is purposefully attempted manifestation just a guise that we use when it's actually destiny? So I'm going to read that again because that was kind of long. Is purposefully attempted manifestation just a guise that we're using when it's actually destiny? Such a cool question, right? So what's destiny and what's manifestation, and how do you tell the difference? So what I would say about that is that nothing is set in stone. Not even your soul contracts at all. Nothing is set in stone. You have so much more power and sway than you realize. You can change things. However, when people ask me to change their soul contracts, here's what I always tell them. You do not have the whole picture right now in this human. You've got like the limitations of the human mind, which is so, so limited in comparison to your truth when you're just the pure soul. You are so expansive. So that true aspect of you, that godlike aspect, the all-knowing soul that knows all of your history, all of your galactic history, all of those lifetimes, all of your relationships, all of your connections, it understands your soul group, your soul family, the dynamics, all of the things that have happened in the past, what needs healing, what needs balancing. It is so intricate. You made these soul contract decisions when you were in that soul aspect, up in higher dimensions, maybe like not even incarnated, right? So this is where people get a little confused. So if you are in an incarnation means a lifetime, then you are in a dimension, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 12th, 14, whatever. If you are not in an incarnation and you are the pure soul in between lives, like after you die, see my video on YouTube, what happens when you die. You are not in a dimension. You are in the in-between place, and a lot of people call that place heaven. So that is where you are meeting with your guides and your councils and creating soul contracts and planning out like a lot of the parts of your life. Main things, like basically like near-death experiences, the main relationships, like long-term relationships, choosing your parents, your siblings, the most important people that are going to be in your life, like very close friends and family, even like somebody that really impacted you, like a favorite teacher, like a lot of those moments, kind of setting up ways for you to align and run into those moments. However, how you react to those moments, situations, relationships is not predestined. It's not set in stone. It's like, okay, we'll put this in front of you and then we'll see what you do. And you won't remember that you chose to have that set in front of you, whether that be like an absolute crazy blessing, miracle, or like a terrible, terrible tragedy. You won't remember that you chose it. So how are you really going to react? And we'll find out how you really feel. Because when the veil of forgetfulness takes all of these memories, which happens when you become fully absorbed into the 3rd dimension, You don't lose everything through to the veil of forgetfulness the instant you arrive here. And you can see my video on 3D to learn more about 3D constructs. But like the veil of forgetfulness is something that slowly seeps in. This is why children don't forget. They remember. Babies, like young children, they see angels, they see spirit. They remember their past lives. It's a slow seeping in of the veil of forgetfulness. And that is how you eventually forget. And that's why like the older you get, sometimes the more set in your ways you become. So once you forget and then you have all of these things happen in your life, how are you going to really react? And then we're going to see really the truth of your soul. Because you could say up in heaven, oh, I know how I'll react. I'll forgive them. When they do that, it'll hurt, but I'll forgive them. It's like, okay, but will you really? And you'll find out. And that is why we forget, because we need to fully embrace the role and lose ourselves in the character of who the human is in order to really understand ourselves. We're learning about ourselves. We're in school, like the Earth school. We're learning so much. So the question was, what is destiny? Well, I mean, just because certain things are predestined to come along, it doesn't determine how you will take it, how you will react, or what will happen. Because you could have something amazing happen and you don't appreciate it the way that you thought. You could have a relationship show up and you decide it's not for you. Like, I mean, there's just so many nuances and different ways that you could take things. So just know that you are in control, even when it comes to soul contracts, because all that does is bring something on the path, like it puts it in front of you, but it's not determining your reaction to it or what you do with that information or situation. And then also know that you are creating at all moments. You are creating right now. How are you feeling right now? Like in your heart, in this very moment, how do you feel? Because you're creating that. It's going to become something. And in your mind, like, what are you thinking about? What are you cycling over and over again? Maybe racing thoughts, worries. It's all fuel for your creations. Never forget how powerful you are. So powerful that every single moment you are creating your tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And you can't blame anyone. We have to let go of victim mentality. There's no one it can create for you. Impossible. Impossible. Because nobody is in your body. You create with your body and with your energy and with your frequency. And the frequency that you cultivate in your heart chakra is what gets sent out and it gets emitted to the world around you. And like a magnet, it sends out and pulls back in. It's like a cycle of energy. You're putting it out and you're pulling back in. And it pulls back in everything that matches. So if you're feeling amazing in your heart and like light, joyful, full of love, then that is what you're going to pull back in. If you're working so hard on self-love that you fall in love with yourself, imagine the life that would create, because suddenly the whole world would be in love with you. And that is like so beautiful. That's a life full of miracles. So that is how important self-love is, healing. It's so important that you cultivate your frequency and your emotional state before anything else, because it's the beginning of everything. It's the starting point. So don't get lost trying to manipulate outward circumstances when it's all coming from in here. So if you're looking for a partner, a job, a vehicle, like whatever you're looking for, yes, you do have to take action steps, but it starts in here. Because whatever is in here, you'll get that matching. Like if your heart's all beaten up, you're going to get like a beaten up car. Even though you took the action steps to find something like really awesome and nice, it's going to have to match what's in here. That's the law of the universe. So get this place to where you want it to be and then take the action steps. Then go looking, then make it happen, because you've got the alignment already. And then that's how you create like a life of your dreams. So I think that might have been the last of what I had on destiny, unless anyone has any questions. I'm just going to go back up the chat for myself just a tiny bit because I know I missed a bunch there. So Divine Triad said, we are the extension of God, therefore we can influence outcomes. We are, absolutely, we are, not only are we the extension of God, we are God, source, just experiencing itself. Our souls, at the center of our soul, it's the spark of source. It's that source spark, that little spark. And then our souls are built around that. And the rest of that soul is like your experiences and filters and beliefs and personality. But at the heart, we are all the same, and we all have the same powers, potentials, psychic gifts, creation, everything. Nancy says, oh wow, I always thought between lives it was a dimension. Thank you for that clarification. Dimensions are for incarnations. So I don't ever know what to call it though. A lot of people don't like the name heaven, and I don't blame them. A lot of people don't like God, heaven. I mean, I get it. We've had it like beat into us with religion and the Bible, and it's honestly just too much. Like they've taken those words and just made something gross out of them. But I don't know what else to call it. That's why I like to say the in-between place. It's beautiful. It's super high vibrational. It's pure. It's pure light. It's like going back to source in a way, but not, because you're still the separate soul. Whereas if you ever decide, which it is up to you, and you can decide to just absorb back into source and not be a separate individual personality anymore, just to go back into source, then that would be different, because like heaven is you as an individual soul planning lifetimes, meeting with your teams, like you're still yourself. And when I had my near-death experience, which I explained also in the video, what happens when you die, and I left my body for that time, I was still me. Like, in case you're wondering, I still had my thoughts, my personality, random, like just still super weird random me. Like it was weird, but I was still me. Hi Psychic Medium Artist Amy, thank you for joining. Louise Mendez, thank you for joining. Nancy says, uplifted, expanded, ego is quiet for the moment. That's how you were feeling. Then you're just creating such a beautiful life. Hi, Elevate with Alicia. Hi, it's Erin Clark. If you didn't catch the full answer, Erin, to your question, I just finished. So make sure to watch the replay, because we talked a lot about destiny and manifestation. Heaven is pure consciousness. Yeah, it is. And the frequency of love. I agree. And a lot of planning. Hi, Galaxy in Your Eyes. Brian says, that thought is so scary to me, giving up your unique soul identity. Me too, a little bit. But I think that maybe we get to a point, so it's hard to understand if we're not there, but I think that we get to a point, and a lot of like Zen and Buddhist masters will explain this really beautifully, where you've done it all. You've had all the lifetimes. You've done it all. And you're ready to surrender back to source. And I've had a glimpse of what that feels like, and it wasn't scary, because I asked to be like, just like during a meditation, asked to be absorbed again by source for those moments, so that I could feel it, understand it, and like go home and like heal fully. And it was beautiful. I became love and light, and I was so expansive. And it's actually kind of like the Kundalini awakening too, where you just become everything. You're not just this one thing, but you're not you either, because you're everything. So you're you, and you're this person, you're everything. And it was actually like pure bliss. So it's definitely not anything to be afraid of, but I totally understand that, like, not being done with being you yet, like, and that's beautiful too, right? So does anybody else have a question about destiny? So what have we talked about so far today? We've talked about destiny, soul contracts, divine feminine, divine masculine, our star family trying to get our attention and give us messages, And then at the very beginning, we also talked about Ascension Symptoms and April's energy. Let me just see what time it is. How long have we been on here? Yeah, we've been on here about an hour. Was there anything else before we wrap up that anybody wants to ask or comment? Then let me know. Oh, and I'll just, while you're doing that, I will quickly touch on, I mentioned clearing your home, and I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. Hold on. Nancy says, I had that feeling wake me up once before for about 20 minutes. Been trying to get back there since March of 2018. That is oneness. That is oneness. And can I make a recommendation for you to get back there? Because I found this book, and I will say it's not so much about the words. It's a good book, but there's something about the energy of the book. So I read it once a year, and every time I do, I get back there. And it's like this book is a miracle, and this person, when they wrote it, had the intention of bringing someone into a Kundalini oneness moment. And as I'm reading the book, it's like, hold on, I'm going to grab it and show you the cover. Although the cover might show up backwards, but I still want you to know what it looks like. So it's something that I actually saw on Facebook, found it on Facebook. So it's called Raise Your Vibration by Sabrina Reber. So it looks like this, and it's not huge. And there's something about it's well loved, and it's not a difficult read at all. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not tiny type or anything like that. It's a good read. It doesn't take you long to get through, but you should really take your time going through it. So again, Raise Your Vibration. The author is Sabrina Reber. So every time I read this book, I go back to that place of oneness, because I also know what it feels like to try to chase that feeling. And I don't want to use a lot of people will use psychedelics and stuff like that. I don't want to use that because I'm sober now, and I don't want to play around. And I know that I can experience that on my own. And so I'll do the extra work, to get there on my own. So this book is so incredible. Read it really slowly and deliciously, absorb it, breathe after each paragraph, let the magic happen, and then let me know, because it's been really good for me. And I'm just, again, backing up these comments because I always miss them. And thank you for saying that, Nancy, because that really was honestly the best book recommendation I can give. And then Agasun Moonstar says, I had an astral trip and the light is so beautiful. Yeah, it feels like home. When I'm doing a complete, it's called Galactic Reset. It's a session that I offer on Zoom. It's a full-on light body, energy body, and soul reset. We connect back to that light, that feeling, and it's like going home. It's so beautiful every time. It makes me so emotional. Pure bliss and unconditional love. Yep. Hi, Andrew Vax. Thanks for joining. Yes, you're welcome, Nancy. Definitely check that book out. Order it. It's worth it. So even if not all the information resonates, there is magic in this book. This woman did something when she made this book, and I am telling you, it is for starseeds and light workers, but I really like it for me, and I have a really galactic energy, and I try to read it every year because of that feeling. It's almost I don't know, I can't explain it. Just let me know how it goes for you. Matt O'Klein says, can you briefly discuss the relationship with food and maintaining your vibration? Absolutely. So everything can be measured on the vibrational scale. Our thoughts, our emotions, everything. So I always tell people that, be very careful about what you're consuming, because entertainment, social feeds, the relationships around you, food, everything is consumption. What you're taking into your body will affect your energy. And so you can measure everything, including alcohol, everything. You can look it up, and I can never remember. There's a guy that wrote a book about it. I can never remember his name, but you can look it up. It's the frequency scale, and everything has been measured. And so depending on where you want to be on that frequency scale, then you need to bring in things that align with that. And so if you are eating a bunch of density, but you're trying to be really high vibe, then those two things are not aligned. So if you feel, because everyone's body is different, that meat is really important for you. Like I'm plant-based, so I can only speak from like this, and have been for 17 years, so a really long time. So if you want to, or your body needs something more than plant-based, then really think about where you're getting that from, because you're consuming that energy. And if you're getting something that is filled with the energy of trauma and mistreatment, and like it died in a terrible way, like a factory farm kind of idea, and then you put that in your body, oh my God. Like you literally just put in your body like terror, anxiety, fear, all the things that that animal felt are in that. It's in it. So you need to think about that and then feel out where you're getting your food from, and make sure it's like really gentle, like peaceful, beautiful lives, and done in the right way, because it can be done in the right way. I understand like the circle of life and all of that. But it needs to be done properly. And then if you're unsure and you're at a restaurant or something, bless your food. You don't have to like make a show of it. Nobody has to know, but you can bless with your eyes, your eye gaze, or you can place your hands over it like this, over your plate, and instantly transmute it. And when I do that, I always think the words, thank you so much. This is pure love and light. So you're thanking it with gratitude, and then you're transforming it into like love and light before you consume it. Super important. So there are ways around everything if you transmute the energy. But for me, I prefer to try to like, I think fruit is like the healthiest thing for me personally. So it's all about fruit. But I also like, I don't know, like cheese and stuff like that, like fruit, cheese. Like I'm not vegan, I'm plant-based, but I still enjoy like some dairy. So it's all about what works for you, and then not judging someone else because you don't know what they need, right? Jackie says, I feel stuck, like I'm awake and I want to help people and feel my purpose, but I also feel like I'm waiting for something, or something is missing. Like there's something I don't know. Yeah, I totally understand that feeling, Jackie. So wondering about the in-between place between healing and living your life. I'm striving for more, but also feel good in the moment and present, but for some reason I'm still confused. You should consider reaching out for a reading, because it sounds like you need a little bit of reconnection with your team, your higher self, and your guides. So I would recommend getting a service, because sometimes when we get, like, even I myself will absolutely do this for myself, and I have people that I will go to as well, because it's really hard to read yourself. But when you're in that place, it is time for some focus, clarification, confirmation, get you back on track. And who better to do that than your team? It's literally their job. Like, let them do their job, because that's what they're here for. And we don't turn to them enough. And they're so wise, and like they know you so well, like so much better than anyone else is going to know you. And or even if you're not really comfortable with the idea of a team, but you want to talk to your higher self, same thing. You can get a reading, you can go and treat yourself to some healing, right? So any of that. So I'm obviously going to recommend myself, because I'm like this, so passionate about doing this and being there for Starseeds and embodying that galactic shepherdess energy, and have such potent healings and readings. So you can check out my testimonials highlight in Instagram. But if not, then find someone near you, local, someone that you trust. It sounds like it's time for you to treat yourself to a service. So Nancy says, yes, I get that feeling in brief moments, like in a waiting room where I feel unconditional love for everyone there. And you like become everyone. And I send love and healing from my heart. It's so amazing to feel that way. I love those moments. I literally love that so much. I just want to be an oasis on this world, because this world needs them. A space for others, an oasis of peace and light and warmth. And that anybody who wants to come and stand under that umbrella of who I am and my energy would feel that way too. Devoted Warrior of Light says, can some of the lessons we feel we didn't feel okay with be installed into our next character's remembrance? I.e., say in a human life we feel like we don't do a certain thing, and we chose a human. Experience again and try to learn to transmute and learn from it. Or would that be discussed in the in-between? It would definitely be discussed in the in-between, but yeah, like any lessons that you need as a soul aren't going to go anywhere. And so until you like complete the lesson successfully, it will continue to come up in this life. And then if you don't get through it in this life, then it will come up again. So for me, like I have a lot of lessons around patience, and that keeps coming up for me. And I know it's not just this life. It's hard for me. Like that might sound silly, but it's really hard for me. I'm not used to having to wait wait times. Like that's so stupid. I just want things immediately. So there's like a lot of learning and growth for me in that. And I know it's a small example. And like you've probably got all these deep lessons that you're referring to, but you can see that if I don't get a handle on this, I'm going to have to do it all over again. And let me tell you, I'm done with this lesson. I don't want to repeat this lesson because it sucks so much. But so I know, because I'm self-aware, that I need to figure my shit out when it comes to patience and like calm down and try to like appreciate the moment that I'm in instead of trying to rush things or like meet goals faster than like just enjoy the journey, Jenny. Like, my God, right? So Nancy says, I was vegan for a time. My name was not so fancy vegan, Nancy. You are so funny. I had a small YouTube channel also. How was veganism for you? I feel like that's too extreme for me. Like, I need some honey. I feel like honey is like one of the most amazing things to put in your body. Like, it helps people with allergies. It helps people with their immune system. Like, it's being made for us to enjoy. Like, I don't understand why maybe I don't get it. And like, I mean, obviously, like you would want it to be like humane and like, you know, freebies or whatever. But how can you not want that? It's so beautiful. Hi, Manishka. Gautam, thanks for joining. Love those tips for food. Thank you. Nancy says, my spiritual health is way more aligned than my food addiction issues and wanting balance in that department as well. I myself will be booking a reading with you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, a lighthouse, a galactic shepherdess, all those beautiful things for you. I just love showing up in that way. Understand that like sometimes our food addictions are ascension symptoms, so don't be too hard on yourself. I know I shared with you guys, I went through this period of like literally could not stop eating sugar and carbs. It was like the worst of both. And like you kind of have to let yourself go through that phase, and it lasted a while. It was like a few months. It was gross looking back, but I don't feel that way anymore. And now I'm like, I don't know, you have to also trust what your body needs. Like I must have needed a lot of grounding and a lot of density to like bring me into my lessons, into my body. And now I feel like I don't need that anymore. Now I feel like I'm ready for like the lightness, like lighter, smaller portions, fruit, all of that kind of stuff. So Jackie, yours is patience too. Doesn't it suck? It's the worst. Why? Like, I wish I had figured it out last time so I didn't have to do it right now, but oh well. Thank you for joining Elemonto and Zen11555. Love carbs, yeah. Yes, and like I said, just give yourself a break. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't compare yourself. I mean, all of those things that we do, don't do that. Let yourself just experience what you need to experience. So, hi, Keeping It Real. Thanks for joining. So Nancy said, veganism at that period of my life was a huge learning experience. You probably needed it then, right? Otherwise, why would you do it? I felt purpose, but left the vegan YouTube community because I felt like they were very mean. Yeah, it's so full of judgment. Not all vegans, obviously, we never say that, but there is a lot of judgment. And there's also a lot of ego in the identity. I talked about that in my video, Identity Traps. It's like, well, I'm vegan. And it's like this identity that somebody puts on to make themselves feel like lofty or better than someone else. And it's like, okay, like calm down, you know, take it down a notch. Everyone loves you. So, oh, thank you, Zen. You needed this. You've been eating greens. Good. Yes, I've been, or shaming non-vegans. Yeah, totally. Yep. I totally understand all of that. All of it, get it. Diet's a big deal, right? I mean, all of our consumption is a big deal. And I know I've been talking about lately, like cleaning up my social feeds because that's consumption. So if your social feed is full of like accusations, fear, victim mentality, you know, people trying to call people out, tear others down. Like, if you haven't seen my video called False Light on YouTube, please check it out, and then go onto your social media feed and clean it up, because it is insane what is happening right now in the spiritual community. It's like a whole new level of duality, judgment. Oh, it's just been awful. And it's led me to, it's been awful because it's not a nice energy, but it's also been a blessing because it's led me to like go within and really double check with myself what I believe, and then from that cleaning up my feeds to match what my heart is telling me. And my heart just keeps telling me oneness. And so if something isn't aligned in oneness, it's not for me, and that's okay. I don't have to follow it anymore. So, okay, well, anyway, I'm gonna cut this off now because we've been doing this about 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I'm happy with the amount of information in this. I've been having like a weird tech issue where I can't save these lately, so they haven't been on YouTube, but you'll always find these episodes on IGTV. So, you watched the video. Nancy says she watched that video and left a long message there. Shifting consciousness. Yes, I always know that's you, Nancy, when I see shifting consciousness, because you told me. That was a really powerful video. So if anyone hasn't seen the false light video, please go and check it out. And then, like I said, I also just did a post on soul nudges. So for what's really potent for you right now is the April Ascension Energies, which is on YouTube. It's called April Energy Reading. And then the post about soul nudges that I just did. So go and check all of that out if you are having a really powerful April month, okay? So before I go, I just want to remind you, of course, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within. Because you are so much more than the body you are in. Have a beautiful day, everyone.